The conversation right here on Lagos television. Call it reckless, crude. I don't know what adjective again to use to qualify most of the politicians that we have in Osun State. Unfortunately, I am from that state, and we have seen a lot of desperation irrespective of the political parties coming from Osun State, all in a bid to grab power come Saturday, August the 15th of this month. 2026. And we have seen killings, violence, and of course, that reckless statement coming from the senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Francis Fadansi. These are some of the issues we are going to discuss on the program today as we look at the build-up to the gubernatorial election of Osun State. We have in the studio this morning Adewale, Adeoye, senior colleague in the industry. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And we have Omoba, Adeyinka, Oyediran, a social commentator. It's a pleasure to have you as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so as a Nigerian, forget the fact that you are not from Osun State now. As a Nigerian, looking at what that you have seen lately coming from Osun State because of this particular election, which is slated for Saturday, do you feel proud as a Nigerians that these are the quality of people that we have elected as our leaders, as politicians, behaving like they have some kind of issues psychologically, if not mentally?
No. Capital no. If I wouldn't be impressed for whatever reasons that would make my fellow human being to be killed, to be maimed, or to be whatever. But of course, before I hang somebody, it has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. That's the way I'm going to put it. But sometimes certain things happen with it. You look at the context. I want to, especially the people from Ijesha, that you have just, the man you are talking about is from Ijesha. I want to give you an instance. I used to have a young in-law, you know, the senior sister married to my wife. When the mother, that is our in-law, or the mother of my brother's wife, when they call him, Benga, please come and do this for me, he wouldn't answer, like 3-4 times. But by the time he said, Benga, the man will start running down. So you look at an Ijesha man, when they curse, it's all, probably that is when they are saying the truth or the positive. That is one angle. 2, resultant effect, sometimes I look at it. You understand me? You talk about action, you talk about reaction. You know, as a leader, peradventure, I wasn't there. Peradventure, he was reacting to enormous complaints that he has gotten as a leader. Hey, 2 days ago, people have been killed. 10 days ago. I want us to look at, to balance it. That, okay, what could have caused him? Then he has not committed the action, but he has expressed, you know, that maybe willingness for people to be able to. I want to look at if critically, is clinically and critically looked into and is found guilty, I wouldn't say there shouldn't be punishment for that. But when you look at things that, let me take you to Ondo Town. Ondo Town has so many shops that belong to Igbo people. When you an Ondo man sits in front of the shop of an Igbo man, and you tell him that, man, Igbo man will soon come and open the shop better, the first thing is going to tell you, Baba Agbegbo. Shokunola Agbegbo. What is Shokunola? What is Baba Ogun to be killed? Why? So that's why I'm saying that within the context, if the expression was born out of certain reactions, I would want us to look at it critically. But if it's found wanting, the youngest child of mine, when he comes to me repeatedly, he has been beaten up, been slapped. Whether it's a touch to him, it's a beat. It's a beating. Then the first thing I'm going to say, don't worry, that is no brother. I will deal with him mercilessly. I will cut off that. Then he will feel happy at that point in time. Could it be a way to diminish the pressure or annoyance? But like I said, don't quote me out of context. If he's found wanting, the law will take its course.
I wonder how else will be found wanting. I saw the video, and I have a colleague practicing this particular business of journalism in Osun State. I called him, and he confirmed that the man said it. I'm a Yoruba boy, and I understood every bit of his message. And when you occupy certain positions in this country, you are expected not only be careful, to be responsible with your statement, with your conduct. Mr. Adeoye, what do you make of the action of Senator Francis Fadahunsi and the video put up by Omoba saying that something must have triggered his action and so on and so forth?
Well, in the first place, we have to look at the history and tradition of Ijesha people. Yes, they are very, which is also similar to Ekiti, where I also come from. And interestingly, I lived in Ilesha for several years. I speak the dialect. I think the people are, you can say they are viciously democratic. However, they are also known to be very decent people. They are known to be people that are very modest in the use of language. And I take you to Professor Kayode, who is one of the finest jurists this country has ever produced. He's from that Ilesha. Professor Fadahunsi, a very prominent scholar known all over the world.
I hope he's not from the same family with the senator.
Well, I'm not really sure. Then we also have Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, you know. And in fact, long before that time, Ijesha had produced very notable warriors like Ogedengbe. And Ogedengbe was one of the finest military strategists in Yoruba history. To the extent that even when that war was taking place during the Kiriji War, he was never involved in rape, never in any vulgar language, you know, or on professional discipline of his soldiers. And when you go to Ilesha today, you see where he kept soldiers that were misbehaved on the war front, where they were kept. He was so reputed for professional fineness. So in spite of the history of, you know, aggression that people may want to associate with Ijesha or Ekiti people, I think there is no justification, you know, for the use of on civil words, on democratic words by a senator who is not a first-time senator of the Federal Republic. He came into politics in 2019. And he is also not, he does not belong to the younger generation. He's 74 years old. He was born in 1952. So I think somebody who's representing Nigeria at the highest epoch of democratic platform, there's a level of decorum that we expect from such an individual. So I think he brought democracy to the lowest ebb by the use of, you know, anybody. Because the unfortunate thing is that when senators are doing constituency allowances and all that, people tend to be loyal to them, even more loyal to them than being loyal to the state. So to the extent that when a senator gives instruction, people might be compelled to go and obey it. Somebody that pays your school fees, somebody that did a kind of what state, the role of the state. Senators are playing this role. So many people have shifted their loyalty from the state to individual politicians. So when you give such instruction, people can go and act and kill. And unfortunately in Osun State, as a build-up to that election, we have had 29 deaths. Human beings, women. In fact, one of them, I think, about 14 years old. We should also put ourselves in this position. These people have families, they have brothers, they have sisters, they are breadwinners to so many homes. And then, as a human being, you cannot create human life. So there's no justification for you to arrest somebody, to try such a person, and then to kill the person. There are 74 incidences of violence related to this coming election. So I think there's no justification for what this senator has done. And I think we need to rise up as human beings to let the humanity in us take possession so that we can redefine the Nigerian image that's already battered, you know, by what we are seeing happening to our people in South Africa, in Ghana, where we are seen as a very aggressive and cultured people. So I don't think what the senator did was right. And I want to see a situation where justice will be done. And I think that speech does not represent the culture and heritage of the Ijesha people. Yeah.
All right, so this desperation coming from all these political gladiators in Osun State, what would you ascribe to it? The quest for power or the desperation to serve the people at all costs?
Thank you. If we are fair, if we want to be fair, the fact that I want to serve my people ought not to bring desperation. It's supposed to be free willingness of people to follow me, free willingness of people to listen to me. Then it ought to be done by what I have to offer, probably my antecedent, my charisma, of course my record, and the promises I make. If I am making, then the needs if I have the capacity, because sometimes when you look at it, what you have today, we have to choose between capacity and the other side. Again, you have to look at opportunity that is available. And let me tell you, some years ago, when I don't know, majority of the Southwest were in the opposition, they were looking for opportunity to have a kind of Southwest region integration, Southwest integration. And at a particular point in time, we lost Ondo State because Mimiko did not go with the Southwest, you know. Then in another attempt, Ondo State was in, Ekiti was out. Remember when Fayose was there. So, of course, when you look at this desire that the Southwest alone can become the food hub, an economic hub, even for West Africa, not to talk of only Nigeria as a whole, that need might arise that, okay, what are we looking for? Secondly, Adewale, the president of this country, when he was in Lagos here, you know, as the governor, there has been desire to make sure that whatever we are doing in Lagos here, other states in the west and the southwest have the feeling. Let there be overflow. Then there can be a kind of synergy. Look at Osun State as a state. Osun as a state. We have so much vast land that are not yet cultivated. If we focus on that area in terms of agriculture, but more mechanized, we can stop taking our cassava and cassava flakes to Zambia. Something can be done here. Besides that, in Atakumasa, you have deposit of gold there. Then when you look at what we can even do with other states, look at the synergy that Lagos State and Kebbi State brought about. Sometimes ago, they brought about lake rice. Now, when I'm talking about capacity, I have said that, look, we need competence. Yoruba is known for competence, putting a round peg in a round hole. A lot of people are saying that Adeyinka has done so much and whatever. I have traveled far and wide within Osun State and I've also compared it to other states. I went to Nasarawa State. You need to see what this engineer Abdullahi Sule, the governor of Nasarawa State, is doing over there. You find him constructing bridges. There was a particular bridge after Akwanga, including the road and the drainage, cost about 40 billion. Without borrowing,
Omoba.
Yes.
The fact that bridges are being constructed elsewhere in the country, how does that connect with the desperation and the killings that we have seen? If indeed you want him out, let the people of Osun State decide.
Of course, I support that. But let me tell you a simple thing. I think people in Osun State, in the past, they were looking at Osun in relation to the volume of money that was coming in the past government. Today, you have volume of money that is coming to each state. I'll give you an example. Between the 12 years preceding Adeyinka's administration, Osun State had about 450 billion within that space of 12 years. But in the last 3.5 years, Osun State has gotten 600 minimum of nothing less than 650 billion.
Just like every other state in the country.
Just like every other state.
And some governors have not justified what they have received.
If all this information are now being given to the common man in Osun State, the tendency might be there for them to say, if this is what we are going to have, it is better for us to have a change of battle.
Let's forget about the people of Osun State. Let's talk about the conduct of the politicians, the killings and the violence. I'm so particular about that.
It is nothing to write about. I detest it. Because God, just like me and you, my parents will not be interested in somebody getting me eliminated. The same way I will not pray for my children to be eliminated. So in all spheres, in whatever contest, I can never be part. And just like you rightly said, sell your candidate, sell your product, give the best you can do. You understand me? Show them. And if it is acceptable, fine, you are there. If it is not the only time. You can be called upon another time that, okay, we have seen this one has failed us. Can you please come on board? So I detest it. No doubt about that.
Okay, Mr. Adeoye, so in your own view, What do you ascribe to the desperation? Because you can hardly pinpoint any of these political parties that are not involved in this violence or mayhem in one way or the other. What are your fears for the people of Osun State as we approach Saturday's election?
First of all, we are land, in the sense that Osun State is the custodian of Ile-Ife, which is the cradle of Yoruba civilization. And Osun State is the most cosmopolitan state where you have urban centers, you know, in the southwest. Osun State also is the host of Obafemi Awolowo University. And if you remember what led to the formation of, former Great Ife, it was supposed to represent the intellectual bedrock for Yoruba economic and political and cultural transformation. That is why in Ile-Ife, the university said, the logo is learning and culture. And you know what culture means when you are talking about human character. So I'm really shocked that what is going on in Osun State has embarrassed us as a race. And let me also add that we are not talking of just Senator Adewale alone. In fact, his speech is a reflection of the prevailing tempo from almost the three major parties. The tempo of violence, of intolerance, of aggression that is also associated with the governor himself and his supporters. Because people that have been killed are not just from one party alone. It cuts across broad. We have listened to the senator, what the senator has said, but then we don't know what they tell each other, behind the camera, what, the other parties tell themselves. And I also feel that the senator has embarrassed himself. I wouldn't
Even
say
his party.
His party. And that may also count against him because it can lead to protest vote. And I also don't think that it's reflecting the image of that party, because we have people like Bisi Akonde in that party. We have even the aspirant, Oyebamiji. We have not associated the former commissioner for finance. So he needs to carry his cross as an individual. Yes, Ajibola Bashir, and many of them like that. Ajibola Bashir were in the student movement together. So I've never associated with any form of violence. In fact, he was expelled at University of Ilorin in his final year as a student of English. He came to University of Lagos to take JAMB again and to read law. In his final year, was expelled again, making 9 years before Ganifa Amina went to court, and then eventually was able to spend 9 years too. So, but we was never associated with violence. So, I think this senator has to carry his own cross alone, and we need to, and I want the party to also condemn him. And I also don't think that speech represents the feelings and aspirations of the president. The president has said that he wants a free and fair election. He's not talking about do or die election. So, what he has done is a minus for the APC. And I believe a lot of decent people, because of what he has said, will react when they go to the poll on Saturday. However, I believe that in all the parties have responsibilities to conduct the election in a very free and fair atmosphere, and to stop this culture of violence, of aggression. Because at the end of the day, only one person will emerge as a candidate. And what a candidate that will reflect the true aspirations and, that will address the fears of everyone, in Osun State. Because violence is an ill wind that blows no one any good. And no one has monopoly of violence. Even when you are in power and you begin to parade violence, people also react violently. And we don't want a repeat of what happened in 1983 in Ondo State to also happen in Osun State. So for us to defend democracy, we must, we must behave by the rules of democracy, which to allow people to vote according to their conscience and not to be bullied into making their choice.
So how careful should the security agencies be as we look forward to this particular election? Because people have criticized the Nigerian police over that statement credited to Senator Adewale. The police said that they're still investigating something that is obvious. So for the security agencies that will be involved for the Saturday's election, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, and a couple of others, how careful should they be in showing that they are neutral without being loyal to any party?
They have to be extremely careful, especially when we are metamorphosing into what we used to know as the Nigerian Police, to what we are planning, that we should have community policing. And one of the problem people were concerned about that with the governors not being able to use the community policing to achieve their whatever. So they have to support the yearnings of the people that we want free and fair election. However, when you look at what has happened, if the governor had been in control of the police, probably this is not what we'll be talking about now. Maybe there could have been violence because he would have dished out instruction here and there. However, I still want to talk about the man at the helm of affairs. Does he have the power to bring the template, you know, in a proper, because there have been incidents before this issue of Father Osun. Like I said, I condemn killing. I detest it. I don't want to be involved and I don't want to appreciate it. But when we are talking about what Father Osun has said, has anybody talked about people that Father Osun were referring to as their party members or other party members that have been killed? We have to balance it and look at
people
it.
People have been killed on
yes,
both sides.
On both sides.
On both sides.
That is why,
and that is not the justification for him to incite people to kill.
I said it. I detest it. I can never support it. I can never do it. And I cannot be part of it. And if I'm even asked to, like just like my brother have said, I said let the law take its course. But like you have rightly asked, so that this will not continue, so that we can say that we have free and fair election, the police has to be very careful. Or not just the police, all the security agencies that are involved, so that people can come out freely and come out. Because once there are pockets of problem here and there, the tendency for people to say, you better stay at home. Don't go and do it. And we want everybody to come and fair. How do we do it? Maybe this will lead us to what other countries does, to the extent that you can vote at your free will. You can even vote online. You can even vote at your convenience, not converging. Because this issue of converging at a particular point in time, you know, always cause this kind of problem. If you have a whole 1 week that you can just get up from your workplace and vote while you are on your way home, I think it will reduce. I believe that one day we're going to get there.
Okay, absolutely, I do agree with you that one day we are going to get there. It is still the conversation right here on Lagos Television. We need to go on a commercial break now. When we come back, our conversation on the build-up to the Osun governorship election, we shall continue. Stay with us.